Hello, Renee Flamont here. You guys, I wanted to make this video because the words, sometimes vocabulary triggers people and puts you off wanting to delve into a topic. For example, the words in the title so far, I think the title is going to be as it sits right now is victim of a narcissist, abuse, survivor, because I've always been very careful with what words I use on this channel. And these, because they're triggers for some people, aren't they? And I try not to use them often, but I have, because it is indeed the truth of what transpired. The pushback, of course, is that people don't want to think of themselves in the same sentence as victim, abuse, or survivor. Think of those three words. It's heavy. Maybe you just want to regard it as a bad breakup and move on. And you don't want to think about the disorder and that you were a victim to this person and they preyed upon you and that was really abuse and you survived it and you're flourishing maybe now. But these things are the vocabulary involved with this disorder. It is considered abuse. I don't like to walk around saying I was abused. I never say that. I really try to limit how much I use these words. And I know that I do. So if you go back, I'm telling you, you'll notice. I try to come up with a different way to say it. Because I would imagine it is a trigger. If it is for me, I'm sure it is for other people. You don't want to think, I'm a bright girl. You want me to think that I was abused? You want me to think that I was abused? And it's not that I don't think emotional is abuse. I know full well that it is. I don't just think of abuse as the physical. I know that much. Yes, I do. But I still had like a reluctance of putting myself in the category of someone that suffered the hands of somebody, not hands, but was accepted abusive behavior from somebody. Oprah gave us 25 glorious years of education. And I thought it was a good idea to say, sure, you can treat me that way. That was abuse. It was abuse. And if you are having that done to you by the hands of a narcissist, by the wiles and the cunningness and the charming of the narcissist, you're a victim of that abuse. That is what it is called. The problem with the words, for me, other than it might prevent someone from watching a video and educating themselves because they don't want to think of themselves even in that category. Other than that, but being a victim might stay with somebody and push down their mentality subsequently to not feel strong about themselves. So I worry that if they know they are a victim, some people hang on to that. Some people flourish. Some people go into a hole. If somebody hears the word abuse and realizes that what they went through, that can really affect someone to think, oh my God, I had such self-loath that I allowed someone to do that. And yes, you survived it. You got out. The difference and the thing to be careful of is don't continue to be the victim after. You have choices. You can wallow. Do your wallowing. Give yourself a finite amount of time. But if you remain wallowing, you're missing your life. I want you to get on with your life. Your life is not connected to the narcissists. And if you got away, it certainly isn't anymore. So you were the victim. It was indeed abuse. And you did survive it. So now what are you going to do now? You're going to wallow? You got through it. Do you know how hard it is to break away from a narcissist? It's very difficult. So if you've done it and you're here now in your safe zone, you're just going to wallow and let him take over the rest of your days? Not after being a victim, not after being abused, and not after surviving it. And for some of you, it does get physical. I think what we should remember is that regardless of what you call something, the truth of it remains. The truth of the situation remains. Whether you had no words to describe anything. Being victim to someone who calls you names and makes you feel worthless and gives you the silent treatment and cheats on you and lies about it and makes you think you're crazy. Being the victim of that abusive behavior and then being a survivor of having that abuse put upon you lands you in a very powerful place. If you view it that way, you've already been through that. You've been through that. It's a whammy. It's a whammy. You've had everything done to you by this narcissist. So you can go forth, and that doesn't mean that you're, okay, so say your bar is like this, right? So this is your bar. You've had everything done to you. Everything. So now you're like, okay, well, that means I can put up with that. No, that doesn't mean that. I don't want you to put up with that stuff ever again. So you set your bar here. Anything he did fell below it. If you ever see any of those behaviors, you're out. You're out. Abuse is a very serious thing. And to re-enter an abusive cycle is a common thing that happens. Because we lean into the same people over and over again unless we fix what's inside. If you are not liking the terms abuse, survivor, victim, I understand that. I don't like them either. And like I said, I don't really walk around using them. But I think that me ignoring those, or trying to dance around the verbiage, is lessening the severity of what's going on. It is absolutely abusive what they do to their victims. And I think that if there's anything, there's all these circles, narcissistic personality disorder survivors. That's where I got that term. There's all kinds of, you survived this relationship. You thrived later. There's all of these references to this kind of survival. And I think that if there's something that's calling you a survivor, it shows you how detrimental being in a relationship with these people can be. Because it's abusive. I'm just using these words throughout this whole video now to show my point. And you're a victim. I don't want people to take the words victim and park themselves into that space and be too vulnerable to re-enter society. It can happen. It happens to many people. I've seen it. They don't want to date. They don't want to go out. They're afraid of everybody. They're never going to trust again. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust their own discernment. I went through that. I didn't trust my own discernment. I thought I just don't choose them well. Then I learned all about this, and that took care of that. But I'm saying it took me a long time to wrap my brain around the fact that even though, I'm a bright girl, I was raised in a good home, I have loving parents, I have great friends, and there I was. I allowed myself to become, I'll say it again, the victim of a emotionally abusive relationship that tried my last nerve, and from that I survived. That's a powerful sentence, actually, when you say it all together. I was a victim. He zeroed in on me. I responded the way he wanted. I gave him all the fuel he needed in terms of fighting, because that's their fuel also. Not just good from you, not just laughter and good times. They want the fighting and all that. That fuels them. I gave him all the fuel, all the drama. He counted on me for screaming, yelling, and hollering. He got it. And he loved every second of it. And that's part of the abuse. They want to see you go crazy. They poke at you until you get that way. That's a cruel behavior. Think about that. I think of us being in a cage and poking. Like a big dog cage or something. You're in a cage and you can't go anywhere and they're poking us. And we're jumping and jumping and jumping. That's what I picture. And that's abusive, I'll say. And you are in a cage metaphorically because they have control over your life. They don't let you veer out. They don't let you have your friends around you. His friends become your friends or hers. Insert your own pronoun. You know, mine is him. For a romantic partner, you put your own in and make this your own. But then your world gets put aside. That's all abusive, controlling behaviors to get the control of the victim so that they have power over the victim. It's ugly, isn't it? God, I can't stand hearing it. I can't stand hearing it. I'm making myself hear it. I'm making myself. It is that. That is what it's called. And if you were lucky enough, strong enough, guided enough, supported enough, and you got out and you are now a survivor, what do you want to do with the rest of that time? I wanted to flourish and learn and educate and become empowered and empower others. You don't have to do that, but you can do it for yourself. Your journey could be, okay, I'm out now. I'm a survivor of this. Continue to educate yourself. Binge watch all these videos. I love them. I binge watch. I see my own. And I remember something and I'm like, ooh, that was a good lesson I learned that day. Or when I figured that out, I remember figuring that out because I've had slow clarity. It was a slow climb for me. Years and years and years of having it happen. And I never thought of myself as a victim. I never thought of any of it as abuse. And I never thought I survived anything. I just thought I can't pick them. I keep picking jerks. I got mistreated again. I blew up. I should have learned to respond and not reacted that way and just left. But I didn't. Now we're having a fight. Let's take him back. Okay, same cycle again. For years. Never, ever, ever thought of myself as a victim of anything. But that's what they call it. Those are the words associated with narcissistic personality disorder. And I just want us, again, it's important to me that you face your truth. And if you're someone sitting there saying, oh, it's not that bad, or, well, he didn't do this, he hasn't done that in a week, or he told me he'd change, or if you're doing that, I want you to not. I want you to see what it is. I wish I did. Maybe it might have motivated me. It definitely would have, because I don't like the words. It would have made me look it up. I'm a victim of what? My parents raised a strong kid. Their kids are strong. If there's anything else, we're strong kids. So that showed me such a weakness. You did what? You put up with abuse, Renee? Like it was a shock. I want you to be shocked. It is abuse. And you are a victim. Now, if you choose to remain in it, I'm not wanting you to go through life thinking, so I'm a victim. I want you to go through life knowing you're a victim. But from this video, I want you to be getting that you can start putting the brakes on certain behaviors and taking your power back little by little in whatever way you can. I can't. I'm not in your household. But that's up to you to figure out little things. Because your mindset is what concerns me. Because it is being a victim. And then if that leaks into your mind that that's all you are, then you might just, give up? And not care if you get out, if you think it's hopeless and you don't, and you know there's no way out. And now you're like, what does that mean? I'm a victim for the rest of my life? Yeah, you are. If you have a narcissistic abuser in your household and they've picked you, that is, yes, But you can survive and even still stay there if you're not ready to leave. You have to gain your strength. You have to understand why their behavior is happening and recognize it has nothing to do with you. A lot of the problem we have when we are victims in a relationship is the narcissist makes us feel that everything is our fault. Everything's our fault. Even if they do something wrong, they'll put it back on you. You do it. That stuff you can stop believing and even allowing him to say. No, sir. There's nothing I could do to make you go out and cheat. That was your own choice. You have a mind of your own. You have free will. No, I did not make you throw that across the room. You have your own mind. Now that could make them angrier, but I'm saying there's little things you can do to take back the power and remind yourself all along the way. Yes, it is bad enough that the words victim, abuse, and survivor are attached to it. Yes, that is fact. You can look up the same 1,000 videos that I did. Those 3 words are attached to this disorder and their treatment of other people. That's how sinister it is. Like, we're not making this up. We're not on some soapbox with this disorder trying to cry. No. These are the words. It's very serious. When you hear victim, abuse, or survivor in the news, you perk up. That's how bad this is, how they treat us. And I just don't want you under any delusion. I want you fully aware of what you've immersed yourself in, or what you got out of, good for you, or what you're thinking of leaving, even, that's better. Even you're at that stage, that's a really powerful stage. You're starting to realize, no, I'm not doing this anymore. If any of these videos do anything, if they help you understand and feel empowered to be able to handle your next step, whatever it is, then we're doing our job. I thank you so much for watching, you guys. I hope you have a good weekend, and I'll see you Monday.